Duchamp no longer believed in painting. He now exhibited ready-made objects like this bicycle wheel, this bottle rack, a snow shovel, and a urinal, which scandalized the public. But Man Ray continued to paint. This is his famous rope dancer accompanies herself with her shadow. But he also kept tinkering with metaphorical objects, which aimed higher than simple ready-mades, like this tube filled with marbles that he called New York, or this tightly wrapped parcel containing a sewing machine, which he called the Enigma of Isidore Ducasse, after a line from Lautréamont's Les Chants de Maldoror, as beautiful as the chance meeting on a dissecting table of a sewing machine and an umbrella, a notion that the surrealists would later turn into a rallying cry. Man Ray was ahead of the pack. Breton hailed him as a pre-surrealist. Symbolic objects versus ready-mades. Man Ray and Marcel Duchamp's inventions followed and challenged each other like moves in an endless chess game. Duchamp's ideas were brilliant but rare. Man Ray responded with astonishing abundance, as if trying to drown his opponent with playfulness. Disappointed with photographs taken by others of his own work, Man Ray bought a camera and started doing it himself. He asked Duchamp if he could photograph his work. Duchamp agreed. One day Man Ray came to photograph the large glass, a work that Duchamp hadn't touched for 6 months. The glass was lying in dust, which interested Man Ray. A single bulb was hanging from the ceiling. Man Ray switched it on, focused his camera, and opened the shutter. The light was so feeble, the exposure had to be about 30 minutes. Man Ray and Duchamp went out for lunch. Later they both signed the photo. Duchamp called it Élevage de poussière, dust breeding, a title that Man Ray also used. But it's also known as the domain of Rose c'est la vie. Rose c'est la vie was Duchamp dressed as a woman, role-playing designed to deride and subvert not only society, but art too. The artist is his own work of art. No point trying to paint or sculpt other bodies. Only his own is allowed, and only when reproduced by mechanical means. Duchamp's proclamation effectively prohibited any representation of the human form. Man Ray echoed Duchamp's statement by calling a photo of an egg beater la femme, woman, and this one of photographic reflectors and their shadows, l'homme, man. But he was also contradicting Duchamp. With their anthropomorphic titles, these photos announced, ironically of course, that all was not lost, and that photography would take up the banner for the human figure. This work has a similar aim. A coat hanger paired with a real naked woman. He made it for the magazine New York Dada, published by the New York Dada group, which was trying to repeat in America the revolt that Sarah and his friends had pulled off in Zurich and Paris. Early in 1921, Man Ray wrote to Sarah, "Dada cannot exist in New York, because New York is Dada." Man Ray decided to leave America for Europe, encouraged by Duchamp, who had already returned to Paris. Man Ray landed in Le Havre on July the 22nd, 1921. Marcel Duchamp met him at the Gare Saint-Lazare in Paris. After showing him to his hotel, he took him straight to a Dada meeting at the Café Certa, in an alley near the opera. The café served only port. Man Ray was eagerly awaited, above all because he came from New York. Sarah, Breton, Aragon, Soupeau, Ribon, Rigaud, Éluard all dreamed of America, Man Ray noted, while he was hungry for Europe. He showed them photos of the paintings he'd left in New York, using only a spray gun in place of brushes. He had also brought along a few objects. Soupeau immediately offered to organize an exhibition in his wife's bookshop. It opened a few months later. Man Ray was hailed as a great American artist, but didn't sell a single painting. Irritated by this flop, which he moaned about to his friends, Man Ray aggressively slipped in at the end of the opening a new object called cadeau, gift. He improvised it on the spot with an iron and a few nails from a nearby store, as if to say, take that. Despite the exhibition's failure, Man Ray did become successful in Paris, but as a photographer. He soon astonished his friends with photos taken without a camera. In a dark room, Man Ray laid a few ordinary objects, a candlestick, an egg whisk, a light bulb, and so on a sheet of photographic paper. After a short exposure, the print was developed. Where the objects or their shadows had blocked the light, the print was shades of white and grey. The rest, fully exposed to the light, turned black. Man Ray soon became a master of this technique. The combinations of hard and soft shapes, the overlay of shadows falling from above or from the side, the contrasts obtained with different exposures, the transparency and opacity of different kinds of materials, gauze, tube, perspex, and blown glass. These photos were so successful that they were soon known as rayographs after the artist. Fashion designer Paul Poiret bought some, just as if he were buying paintings. A set of 12 was published as a limited edition book with the title Champs Délicieux, Delicious Fields. Sarah wrote the preface, entitled Photography Upside Down. Rayographs were also published in Vogue, Vanity Fair, Les Feuilles Libres, La Révolution Surréaliste,